So CWP, it stands for Community Work Program. It is one of the public employment programs, and maybe let me give a brief context that post 2007 there was an acknowledgement in South Africa that the rate of unemployment, it is rising and it is getting higher and higher. And of course, what was initiated was that we needed public employment programs. As the name stands, it's community work program. So it is more community orientated. So the common projects that get underdone in different communities under the auspices of CWP include programs such as cleaning, food gardening, providing social services where they assist the elderly, they assist people that are sick. They do a number of social activities, but they also do agricultural projects, and some are doing sewing projects. So obviously everyone is allowed to be quite creative in terms of what can be done. The participants work 2 days a week, which amounts to 8 days per month. And a lot has been written in terms of the work that we have done here at CSVR in terms of how some of these initiatives contribute in preventing violence, also in creating job opportunities. Given all the statistics that get bandied around, that youth unemployment is a ticking time bomb in this country. It is something that we need to address. And of course the stats confirm that youth unemployment is getting higher and higher and higher and higher. And of course then if I'm part of CWP, of course I'm not idling. I'm doing what is good for the community. Of course, it is very rare to have someone who's doing what is good for the community. And I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'm saying it's very rare to have someone who's waking up every day, to say, what is that I can do for my community? Despite the fact that I don't have millions and millions of rand in my banking account. That person waking up, and going to commit crime, it is very rare. It is less likely, because this person is no, I want to recruit young people. I want them to be off the street. I want them to be part of my team. And in fact, in the research report, if you read it, it has very moving stories of young people that join CWP, and today they're somewhere in their lives, and all of them admit, to say if they had not joined CWP, they would not be where they are. Today. And others, obviously, when they joined, they then realized to say, we can then create our own, projects. As long as if these projects contribute to what is good, for their respective, communities.
Remember deep slot, the whole deep slot. It is a crime. And key youth baba etsang bangata ke youth baba etsang a crime. So re batla go ntsha youth ko strateng. Re itisha ko CWP, and then re be le the activities se re di etsang for youth. Gore youth gone tswa ko strateng go re ba etsetse this thing the training, let me say the training or the workshop like GPV and drugs, then re bantse go strateng, and then ba tlo go CWP, and then CWP gone go ba assister for go etsa something like the project se lo nka gona go ba builder gore ba tswa ko strateng ba tlo go CWP. We train a participant for farming, like sports, catering, and sewing. Some of the participants are doing cooperatives. In cooperatives, we have a youth. We have a sewing project. We train a participant for sewing. Then the youth is having the skills for doing some t-shirt and worksuit, jumpsuit. It's a t-shirt and body. They sell the jumpsuit, and then for community, for union, for let me say for schools, uniforms.
CWP impontshitse dilo tse dintsi tse ke sa di tsebeng go roka ne ke roka soil ne ke roka ntwe ba re keng mosamo ntwe ya mosamo.
Then we have a small studio, for recording studio.
Studio sa CWP sikhona la sisebenzela khona la khaya. Noma sesincane nje kanjalo nje kodwa siyancincisa ukuthi siphushe ngoba ngiyazi at the end of the day siyokhula, uNkulunkulu uzosikhulisa, yonke into ayihlali incane. Iyakhula kuba nesikhathi sokuthi ikhule sigcine sesifikelele kuloko esifuna ukufikelela. Ndani sisize nabanye futhi abasezayo emuva ama-artist amancane ukuthi nawo agcine akhulile futhi. Iyouth siyayitrainer, sizama ukuthi siyitraine, ndani masiyitraina sirecord. Mase sicedile ukuyirecorda sibe sesizama iplan ukuthi sibapressele ama-disc. It depend ukuthi lo muntu esizoba simtholile umuntu onjani, because sisebenzela what we call siyabatraina kuqala. Masicede ukubatraina la bese siyabona ukuthi seka right sekavuthiwe simfake e-studio. Masicede ukumfaka e-studio simrecorde, masiceda press ama-CD siyaphuma ngama-promotions. And then ngicanga ukuthi ngaleyo ndlela leyo nabo bayakwazi ukuthi ba-benefit because asithathi next kuleyo mali so far. Angithi sisazama ukuthi sikhule. Leyo mali leyo iyamsiza nayo the khona uthenga i-uniform yokuthi ayocula lapho sizabe siya khona. Uyabona? And then uyakhona nokuthi at least engine cover. Ngicabanga ukuthi iyanceda kakhulu ngaleyo ndlela.
Awungithi helloyi awungithi helloyi namasa mate tiko wamina
ka mo sa re fina phaka ka baka la sports re shota pleke e botse e le gore re ka ralokela bolo go yona. Nna ke nna coach ya banna basadi a soka, so re shota lebala le botse le le gore ka re kgona go ralokela bolo mo yona. Re ka fase ya umbrella CWP re rata gore nkebe go bo ka kgonagala CWP ya rena be bontšhe batho rena go thokwa ba sports ke eng, re be re kry-e dilo tše dingwe tše e le goreng re sa di shota mo sportseng.
Qala kwam ukungena kwi-CWP ngiqale nge-2017 nakhona bingakabikho isoka ngelo xesha, ibisayinto yokuthi si-participate nefotsholo imithayelo, mama bayatshayela thina siza sibawolela leyo dodi then endleleni esikontirini or phakathi kwiiholo zaka-government. Then ithe 2017, 18, 2019 kwaqala ngazuthi kufumaneka into yokuthi kumele sibengene endaweni efana nesoka sidlale nebhola, then yazanywa into enjalo yade yafumaneka kwade kwaxa siba siyangenelele ebholeni. Ibhola into endiyithandele yona ikhonile ukuthi isusa abantu abaninzi, isusa nabangaphandle abangekho phakathi kwe-CWP, i-community yonke njengoba kwayona i-program CWP program work program community because isebenza ngabantu ayisebenzi ngathi sisodwa singaba-CWP sikwazi ukuthi sikusize noba ungaphandle ungasebenzi nathi sikuthathe sihlale nawe ibhola.
Gore ke be netball ya coach ko gore ke ne ke batla gore ke thuse ba bangata gore re kgone go ba le netball mo CWP, because CWP go na le youth mo CWP, outside CWP e leng gore ga ba batla go tla bereka mo CWP because of ba bona rona re bereka mmereko mo one re tlhagola re fiela mo strateng, so ba na le ditlhong tsa gore ba tseye lefielo ba fiele mo strateng. So that is why re bile ra thoma gore a re forme scheme sa netball and football gore bana ba le batle ba kgone go le entertainment mo CWP gore ba kgone gore ba re join mo CWP, because ga gona mesebetsi gone yanong ba lela gore tšhelete ke nyane, but how le ka mo at least o kgona go ba go relieve stress mo.
I started working at CWP last year, September. I think it's 1 year now. Netball, I started this year. Actually, I'm a hockey player, so I just wanted to try something new, yeah. And then netball was my thing. Before I came to netball, I was going to the sites, cleaning the halls, community halls, the community streets and stuff, but I don't think that's my stuff. I'm good in netball, so I came to netball. That's my talent.
Sports se thusa youth gore ba ska ba tsamaya ba ya go senya mo metseng, so hangata re dula le bone mo ba youth re mo sportsing nako e tele re dula le bone nako e tele.
Then ingabasiza abanye baye kukuchaya ama-drugs, baye kuhamba bengenela abantu bephathe iphanga khona la endleleni, bayabulawa abantwana bakuthi mabehambe ebusuku beye ezithaveli bayokwenza ntontoni bethe bayozonwabela. Bakhona abanye abahluphekile nabo hayi ukuthi siyabablame because sizobablame because bayabulala, kodwa isuke naye esenza lanto engenaniksi ephokotheni yakhe, that's why ezokhona ukwenza izinto ezifana neziya.
Kahle kahle sizama ukuthi sibakhiphe ezintweni ezingase right, sibasondeze ku music, sibafake emusicini, ngoba into engike ngayibona ngeyouth, iyouth mawungayithatha ifake ku music ngiyaba too much ngapha ku music ngiyakhohlwa ngezinto ezi wrong, bagcina bayenza izinto ezi right baya phambili. Ngoba mangaba ungayenzi music mhlambe ufocus ezintweni zomhlaba, kwesinye isikhathi ukuphume elayinini ugcina sowuhlangane nabangani aba wrong, so wenza izinto ezi wrong. Kanti into esifuna ko yini into enhle, sifuna ukubona iyouth kunotshintsho eyouthwini, kunezinto ezinhle ezenzakalayo, i-deep develop actually.
Yeah, mo di mo ga seo ke nana re bile music o ro etsang gangata ke gospel. Mona le gospel mo teng ke mo ile gore o kopana le modimo ka nako tse dingata, even if e se kereke mara music o ro bina most ke gospel. So ke yone ntwe ba tlosang go di strateng wa utlwa lone music wa ubi o mo tlosa mo dilong tse ngata, o mo tlosa mo di drugseng nako e ntse we spenda le mo studio, a se studio ke promotion. So ra lega ka bojotlhe re batla go bona re tlo go isa mo kae mara re tlhoka thuso.
Currently, as we are in CWP, we're trying to bring in all these creative artworks and stuff just to face away the old programs of cleaning the streets and all those things. We can keep them, but for the old people. But for the youth, in order for them to come on board to join the CWP program, they should be having programs that should be getting them, benefiting them in terms of skills and uplifting them.
When CWP started, they said CWP is for the poor of the poorest, not for anyone. So currently we try to recruit them, youth, and tell them that the CWP is not based on the cleaning. We do have other programs that we participate on. So when we recruit more.
I became part of the CWP. I was
doing community theatre here at Tusong by a lady called Refilo Peterson. She was our director together with Gomorrah Future Stars and the other guys. And one day she calls us, she's like, guys, there's an opportunity. CWP has the art side and they want me to be the supervisor, because she was my supervisor when I got there. And then they want me to be the supervisor, so I want you, my people, to come and work with me. And then that's how I started with the CWP.
Ngina 1 year ngu CWP. John Khabet Meka the second, the fifth. Yeah, we ongihlanganisile la. So yeah, we're part of the program because of John. And then the program is last September. To see like role edlalayo empilweni zethu nathina nje emphakathini nathi esama participant. Ngathi sikhuluma ngezinto eziningi emphakathini, like for instance yona indaba ye-GBV yabo thina siyayithatha siyenze into yase stage, sikhulume through i-dance no music ne acting.
My name is Elias. My surname is Mbengu. Here in Alexandra, I'm the one who established rugby in 2005, but registered under Golden Lions 2007. So here I'm standing as a club manager of Alexandra Rugby Football Club, but I'm also coordinator of the Alexandra Rugby Club. We've got 13 teams on male side, on rugby teams. We have 13, but we have 8 male side and we have 5 female side. So it makes 13 teams.
I'm a coach, a rugby coach, coaching under 11. We have under 16, 2 under 16. Now they are playing national. I started when I was 10 years. I was schooling at IDRC Primary School. Then I got interested. I was practicing with boys. There was no girls back then. Then here I am, I'm a rugby coach.
The rugby club is part of the CWP because of the coaches are being paid a stipend to do all the work. But apart from that, the club has its own executive that's running the club, yeah.
I'm from Alexandra, and that's where I was born and raised. I started playing baseball 2013. I was still in primary school. I started playing for my school, for my primary school, MCOILA, and then I got introduced to the sport via a school's program. So that's how I started playing baseball. I got to play for my hometown, Alexandra, and then went to provincial, and now I'm playing for the SA team.
I'm from the LX residence. Yeah, I live in the township. I'm with the LX club, the Badgers team. Then when going to tours, I represent Gauteng baseball. I used to play baseball when I was like roughly 12, 16 years. Then I stopped because of my matric. I was a pitcher by then, pitcher, first base, and an outfielder. Then now I came back to the baseball game as a scorer. I'm an official. Yeah, I have a role of scoring for my teams. I also have a role of being in the South African Scorers Committee. Most of us started as kids that was just on the streets roaming around. But with us having baseball there, now we are collective, we do one sport, and as a community we've built a certain structure of taking kids out of the street.
I'm 12 years old. Into engenza ukuthi ngidlale baseball, umama ungenza ukuthi ngidlale baseball ngoba ungibonisile 2016 ngisana 6 years. Le kepisi ngalisebenzele mistrayela Cape Town. Masicada ukudlala provincial baseball. Satrayela for ukuthi sodlalela country yethu. South Africa. Saye Taiwan and i-baseball ngiyithanda kakhulu ngisayeka.
My project is City Skin News, which was established in 2018, where I start covering our local football, which is working with Alexander Northern Football Association. The reason why I established this publication is that what I've noticed is that most of talent end up being observed by social ills, which is some is crime, alcohol, and drugs. So I realized that if I establish such platform, it will allow youngsters and talent to stick in football, so we can have talented players.
These activities that we have and we're trying to bring to our townships, they are probably a grateful work that we do, moving these kids away from the streets, because most of these kids after school, they are roaming around the streets doing all the wrong things, not having any activities to be done. The minority that we have here on the fields stay away from drugs, crime, and everything else that is being faced by these other kids in the fields.
Most of the kids are involved in sports, just like baseball, and most of the kids that are participating in the LX baseball are from underprivileged background. We have practice roughly from Monday to Friday, starting from like 4 until 6. Because of school and stuff, some would prefer coming to the practice on Saturday, then on Sunday we have games.
A lot of us as adults right now, we had friends back then, and those people who are our friends, some of them are involved in crime. If it wasn't for baseball, then we were going to be with them at that time.
There's no space for one to take drugs. So we'd say we're serving the community to prevent drug taking. Because even now as we speak, we have them on the field, so there's no time for them to go and practice drugs taking.
So now baseball has saved us, and it has basically saved our life and our things that we want to do in life, and it also gave us a preparation of life in the future too.
Psychologically, if you're to think about that young person will not go and mug you, will not come and steal your car. Because his or her preoccupation is about helping other young people not to also commit crime. So directly, he would not. Indirectly, through working with all these other young people that you see at a stadium in the afternoon, playing rugby, preparing for the rugby match, preparing for a baseball, the sport that I don't even know how you score and everything, and them being quite fascinated about that.
It is a form of crime prevention for the youth.
In the CWP, they are giving us that stipend. It's something, but then life it's hard. It's hard because there's a lot we deal with, from teenage pregnancy to there's a lot actually Alexander has to deal with, from drugs, crime, and all that.
The youth is not interested in the CWP. It hasn't built a proper brand or a proper face of what is it that they do.
Now remember, men, including young people, don't want to be seen working for CWP because there's no money, because there's no enough capital.
There's a stigma that people in CWP are old and they clean the streets. So they lose interest in coming to CWP, and also the stipend, it's too little, so people lose interest.
I do get stipend, but it's not enough. It's 880. And because of my background, I wanted to come to CWP and earn more money so that I can go back to school or start my small business or something that will keep me busy than 880.
They do have pride that I do have matric, I can't go to CWP and work. It's rather stay at home or to find another job than wasting my time 2 days going to CWP.
And then if maybe they cut out the middleman, that money which is paid to the implementing agencies could come and pay people. At least if maybe people got 1.5 a month, that would be better. The basic salary in South Africa is supposed to be 3.5. We don't even get half of that. People have kids, people have families to take care of. You get 800 rand, it's gone in an hour.
I just hope that they can give us more time, not 2 days. I just hope if they can give us at least 4 working days at a week, yeah, it would be better, and the income too. We can do something better as a youth. We can make a difference.
There's this term in the contract, I think it's the exit strategy plan, where you cannot be here for over, I don't know, is it 5 years or so? So you must come up with an exit strategy so that you can make space for the others to come in, mainly the youth to come in and start getting some stipend and all that we get from the CWP.
It was meant to be a program that you should be there for a couple of years, then get an exit with something like paperwork or something, a qualification.
The concept behind that was that when people are still looking for job opportunities, there will be this safety net that gets provided to them. But the reality is that people are not able to leave the program.
The reason why the exit strategy is a problem, it's the programs they give us, the trainings they give us. They are giving us programs of which they cannot help you with anything when you want to exit. We have to go hunt, and then not everyone is a hunter, so not everyone will be able to exit. I think that's the problem we're dealing with, because of if they give us skills development programs of which they know that this region deals with this, so if we are giving them projects or programs or trainings, we give them trainings based on this and that and that, then that way it would have helped a lot of people, because a lot of people are stuck. I've heard people have been here for 10 years, all the people are stuck because of that main problem.
People need to grow. You can't be here for 10 years earning 880, but there's no growth, there's no direction as to where you are going.
So given the fact that people are not able to leave the program, we now need to rethink CWP. We now need to remodel CWP.
If they can help us by giving us more skills, sort of like trainings, we still need more trainings so that we can by those training I can see ourselves going far.
The programs you're giving us here at the CWP, it's for how to save money and all that. We need programs such as art programs. We need programs like how to start up your own business, all those things. But then we usually get such programs where they teach us, NetBank will come or something, teach us how to save money.
If they can bring farming, sports too, we don't need just to play netball. If they can train the coaches, train us how to train school kids and stuff. I mean, the marketing, accounting, any training they can bring.
These implementing agencies come in, they don't know what we need. They just come in, buy us boots, buy us spades. They don't bring us all the necessities that we bring to make us productive in our sites.
In order for CWP to be fruitful and be working for our communities, I think it's better than COPTA must be liaising directly with its participants. They must cut out the thing of implementing agents, because those ones, they tend to be making the program to be impossible.
We feel, why should we have a third party that handles the financial stuff of things within the CWP, instead of us having an NGO within Alexandra which would then be able to know the demographic and everything that we're going through, and obviously what we need.
We always preach this song of CW people to be insourced in government. We can be happy if they can be insourced.
We've got a lot of educated people within the CWP with qualification. So maybe if the government or those projects could absorb our people from CWP. For instance, we have a project in Alex, it's called CRIIPS. I don't know what those people do. They also wear orange reflectors, but they earn better than us. The government should have instead took people from our project.
We need economic development to come and partner with CWP. We need all these departments, even Department of Health.
The truth is, there are departments that are busy with other projects, but we are not informed. We are not informed. We don't know what's happening. We happen GG on the street. We see people wearing uniform. We don't know when the recruitment process took place. So yeah, if maybe they could have proper communication with us within the CWP for proper recruitment and assessment, then we have a long list of people who need jobs. We have a long list of people who are still trying to get within the CWP. If maybe there could be proper communication channels between us and them, because we are able to interact with the youth.
There are people who with qualifications, but the problem is that they don't have a platform where they can present themselves. That's why we need all these departments to come on board, to work hand in hand with CWP.
The government needs to absorb our people before taking other people from the streets. Because first of all, we don't know where those posts were advertised. So we need the government, we need Region E to come and work with us. If they need people with skills, they should consult with us first. And then they can take our people. Then we can have more people coming to work for CWP. But then whenever there's a room for growth or whatever new projects that they have to grow people, they should start with our people here within the CWP.
Remember, CWP, they are always on the ground. They know everyone within the area. They can even go door to door. Most of the time, they are the one who come to my office and say, Councillor, we met with this old lady who is currently sick. We met with this young one who have qualifications, but that particular young man doesn't even know where to go. Yeah, they are on the ground. Yeah, every day.
Under the government, I'll also involve CWP because they are the ones who are helping us a lot. The salary is helping us as coaches. It does help us, even though it's not enough, but it definitely does help. And as a government, we really need help with equipment. We really need help with you guys getting involved with sponsorships, because without equipment, without sponsorship, there won't be any growth in the community, or there won't be growth in our sports too.
The youth of Deep Slot, they are highly affected. I can guarantee you that unemployment is affecting them psychologically, emotionally, I can even say physically. When I'm saying physically, it's so touching to see a young person not being able to buy him or herself toiletries. It's automatically affecting them physically. I always encourage these young ones to go and work for CWP. I worked for CWP long before I became a councillor. It was around 2008, 2009.
So basically at the end, what we argue is that CWP has the potential to entice many young people. It has the potential to entice many young people to join it. But obviously, if it continues to be managed, the manner in which it is being managed, to be implemented, the manner in which it is being implemented, young people will not join it in big numbers. What is it that needs to be done? So obviously then, in the research that we have written, we provide different recommendations. In other countries, if you go to Kenya, because I've done a research, sort of globally, you have programs that are geared towards young people. So the first thing is to then start marketing CWP as a program that young people also need to sort of join.
Rather than addressing the problem of food security through the emergency appeal system, the program aims at addressing the underlying causes of food insecurity.
The humanitarian aid program was not being linked with the development approaches. Through that humanitarian system, we have saved lives, but we are not improving livelihoods.
As the introduction says, that I want to speak about the program that is called Kenya Youth and Employment Opportunity Project, which is one of the latest and most comprehensive youth empowerment project that Kenya has embarked on, but whose significance we can only understand by stepping back a bit to understand where the program is coming from and the issues it's trying to deal with. Now, Kenya has had several youth-specific empowerment programs. Right from independence, 1964, it set out the National Youth Service in order to address the pressing question of what do you do with the youths, particularly the youths who had, one reason or the other, were dependent and to be reintegrated back into the community and made to play an important role in Kenya.
Thank you. So my name is Brian Kimari. I'm a research fellow with the Center for Human Rights and Policy Studies. So we conducted a study on the Kenya Youth Employment and Opportunities Project that largely was a project that was meant at increasing youth employability through both skills training and business support, which was through grants that were given for business development services and also for two young entrepreneurs.
All right, my name is Dr. Katindi Sivi. I do research and policy analysis and foresight work. So part of what I've been involved in is youth research across Africa and mainly looking at the future of Africa and Kenya as well in terms of what it portends, looking at the question of the youth bulge issues.
So the role of some of these youth initiatives and youth programs in preventing violence would largely be influenced by their capacity to kind of foster more social inclusion and to address some of the challenges that the youth are going through that kind of pushes them to engage in both criminal and political violence. So what KYEOP did in this regard was expose a lot of these young people to services that they were able that they initially did not have access to.
You know, the thing about youth programs is that they are designed with the objective of providing employment. Now, that is relative because in the mind of young people, employment needs to be gainful. It needs to be able to set you off on a trajectory of success, right? But the way these programs are designed is to give you something basic to do and keep you busy, so that two are not incongruent, right? The two objectives and expectations are not incongruent. And so because of that, young people become frustrated, right? And then because the objectives of the project is to provide employment, it doesn't speak anything about deterring violence. And so because of that, they are not adequate in doing so. But by extension, they do, by getting some young people into these programs, you have less numbers that are able to be mobilized for violence, right? And so it's maybe an indirect correlation rather than a direct correlation.
To understand violence, we also have to kind of start from the starting point of the root causes of violence. And what studies have been able to find so far is that violence is influenced by a lot of social factors, that exist in society, largely around the horizontal inequalities facing different people who choose to engage in violence. This, kind of ranges from the access to basic services, basic services like security, like education, like health.
When you think about the peace programs that have been done, for example, they are still empowerment programs in one way or another. They do speak about violence directly, and so, but you see, the problem with those is that they are not connected to the issues why young people are being violent. So if I'm a young person who is violent because I'm frustrated because of unemployment, but you bring a peace program which doesn't address my issue of unemployment, then yes, you can talk to me about how being violent is bad and how I need to be able to live in a peaceful community, but you haven't addressed the root cause of the problem.